What is up, my friends? My name is Jesse, and this is the very first episode of a brand new segment called Beyond the Sanctum. Out of the Sanctum, Beyond the Pages. We haven't decided, name pending. Regardless, for those of you who aren't familiar with my face through our Twitch streams, I am Jesse, the writer, director, and voice behind the Lost Codex episodes, and the purpose of this new format is to step out of the lore and look at things behind the scenes, not only with the game, but the community as well. With this new format, we hope to explore not only WoW news coverage and book reviews, but also author and developer interviews if we're given the chance. We'll also use this format to explore theory crafting and speculation videos, which we do on our stream, as well as any sorts of other content that people might be interested in that take place outside the lore and story of the World of Warcraft saga. To start us off on our very first episode, we had the privilege of being invited to our very first developer interview at BlizzCon 2017. I just wanted to thank the community management team and the PR team for setting this up. This was an awesome opportunity, so thank you very much, guys. I had the chance to sit down with Alex Afrasiabi and Shani Edwards from the World of Warcraft team. Alex is the creative director who leads the story and narrative for the World of Warcraft game, while Shani is a game producer who deals with character artists and character animation on the art team. I will warn that the audio on our video is a tad off. We are aware of this and hope to fix it for the next opportunity, so apologies in advance. Regardless, please enjoy the very first episode of our newest format, name pending, Beyond the Sanctum. I talked to Taryn Gregory before I came in here, and he told me to show you no quarter with questions.
He's one of my favorite people, and merciless.
All right, he told me to be merciless.
He is merciless.
So I'm going to start off in the book that we got in the little prologue, Christy Golden's book.
Yes,
at the very end, Sylvanas is eyeing Stormwind. We go to the burning of Darnassus, the battle for Lordaeron. I'm going to ask the big obvious question. Who fired first? What's who and why? What's the
my. You know, I can't just tell you that.
Right.
You're going to have to experience that, the glory of it all for yourself.
Right.
But I did see a Reddit post today that I found very accurate, or close to accurate, and there was a guy who took a screenshot of himself. He was an orc. God bless him. And he was on one of Teldrassil's branches.
Right.
And he had started the campfire. And he's like, I'm ready to go.
That's him.
So if you want to know who fired the first shot, it was that guy.
That guy on Reddit.
He's way ahead of the game.
In the cinematic, we saw our boy Anduin just, taking names on the battlefield.
Our boy Manduin.
Manduin. Where did Manduin's, at what point in time did he kind of develop this battle prowess on the battlefield?
I wouldn't call it battle prowess. Manduin has received training in many different arms, martial and otherwise, as well as priestly training from the likes of Velen.
Right.
And, he was a great friend to Bane. And so you can imagine that he's received his own fair share of martial training, but also as the king's son, right? You have to undergo some amount of self-defense courses, as it were.
So this is kind of a sort of a build-up of all that.
This is a build-up of all that, absolutely. And furthermore, one of the things we wanted to do was bridge this. We knew this was coming. Surprise! Right. We've known about this expansion.
Right.
And so in 7.2, when Anduin goes to the Broken Shore, Anduin's having a lot of problems, right? Anduin is unable to sleep. He's having these nightmares, these visions in his head, and it's killing him. It's destroying him. He needs to understand what happened because everyone's trying to protect the king, right? He's inherited this throne. And he doesn't understand it. And everyone's, Gan is like, you can't go there, it's dangerous, we gotta keep you safe, it's a really dangerous time. And so that was one of the first, coming into his own moments that we really wanted to push for, is Anduin going to the Broken Shore, disguising himself, going around town, listening to what his people think of him, and trying to prop him up. And in that moment when, Gan hands him the blade, and he's like, you're my king, from here on out, paraphrasing, it was said way more elegantly than that.
Right.
That was that first turn for us. Okay, Anduin's becoming a man, right? He's more than just the little boy that kind of sat on the side waiting for daddy to come home. Right. And this is that evolution.
Cool. With Turalyon, we think of Lightforge, and on the topic of Lightforge, we have the allied races. What led to those 6 in particular as a choice, both art team wise and story wise?
So I think for the art team, we liked all of those races that came up, and we're like, these would be cool for players. And we heard a lot from players. Nightborn are really cool. I want to be a Nightborn. High Mountain Tauren. Why can't I be a High Mountain Tauren? So I think just player feedback was what made us go that way.
Right.
And the Void Elf was actually something that didn't exist before. And we were like, let's do something new and cool. And that's how the Void Elf kind of came along.
Cool. I was going to ask, is there any particular races you guys were kind of unsure about from the beginning, or 100% gung-ho for? Like, when it came picture, like, yes, that's the one, or I don't know about that, but that kind of grew. Was there any ones that you two, or at least in particular, really loved or took some time to warm up to?
Yes, but I don't think we can talk about it, honestly. Like,
That's fair. That's fair.
This is actually a constant battle between her and I in terms of, can we please just get this race in? And she's like, nope, sorry, can't happen.
Fair. With the Nightborn
guy.
With the Nightborn, I was going to ask. I played the whole Surmar campaign on my Alliance too,
yeah.
And I do remember there was that back talk with Tyrande, and being a little bit hostile, and Liandrin being a little bit.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Thalyssra's relationship is there going to be? Are we going to see that turning point specifically where Thalyssra faces the Horde, and is it going to be a strict turn the back on the Alliance part, or will there be recognition to, at least in story element, to the Alliance players that did help her with the Arkandor and the siege of the Nighthold and stuff like that?
I mean, we don't want to spoil, so let me back up a little bit. So Allied races, awesome new feature. Now, in order to unlock an Allied race, you have to go through a certain number of prerequisites, and the main one being effectively questing, right? We really want to make sure that we build up context for you. So these moments that happen, like I played through Surmar on Alliance and Horde in various configurations. I know the Nightborn really, really well, all well and good, but the question will inevitably come up, and why do they decide to join the Horde?
Okay.
And so that's what we want to answer, right? We want to make sure that the question that you're going to ask, that the fans are going to ask is, well, why? Why did the Void Elves join the Alliance? Why did the Nightborn join the Horde? And of course, even High Mountain, honestly, that you could question it, because they're a neutral faction.
I help them.
I mean, as Alliance, you go in there. Certainly, if you come in there and you give Mela enough, seal pelts. I don't know if they actually like seal pelts. Maybe she will reconsider. But that's the point of my ramblings are. The point is, we definitely will make sure that you are provided with the context and the overall story, the narrative to make sense of any of this.
Right.
So you will, of course, learn the truth.
And will that, specifically the Nightborn storyline, will that be playable for Horde and Alliance? So we Alliance see that choice, or is that more of a Horde direction?
It's tricky. Kind of.
Okay.
And I don't really want to say more than that because there's a lot happening.
Okay.
And so you will get a taste.
Okay. We'll get there.
You'll get a taste.
Okay. With the Lightforge, Draenei, which I was, they were one of my favorite parts of it, 7.3, and just how different they are. They've gone from a cosmic war on such a massive, almost incomprehensible level to us as players, to now a faction war. Without spoiling the storyline, do you think, as a writer for the story, do you think that the Lightforge almost look down on this kind of direction, or is it they're helping their cousins, their other selves, kind of?
I do not think they look down. I feel like, look, we look at the Lightforge story, and it's a really interesting one, right? Like this. Ultimately, the Lightforge were originally just another group of Draenei on the Genedar. Right? As that thing is leaving Argus for the first time, it actually splits into two different ships, right?
Okay.
You got the Zenidar, and then you've got the Genedar. Then those go their different ways. But at one point, they're all the same group of Draenei under Velen, under the different Naru that are on that vessel. And so what I'm saying is they're ultimately the family. They're all related or interrelated in some fashion. And when things were going south for them, who steps up? Right. Similarly, I feel like, look, their main threat, the thing that they were chasing, is soon coming to an end. Right. We're not done yet, and in the coming soon TM, we will deal with the remnants of the Legion, and what's their war now? Right? It's with their family, right? Their war is with their family. This is who they're going to stick with, and that's exactly what it really comes down to. And it's not a lesser war as a result of it, right? It's as big as anything else.
Right. Okay. The Void Elves, I thought, were one of the most interesting allied races chosen. In the audio drama that we got in 7.3, Illyria spends a long time in the Nether with Locust Walker, training to use the Shadow. In that storyline that we unlocked the Void Elves, will there be that weird kind of time flowing differently kind of aspect? Because the whole ordeal with Illyria and Locust Walker is Locust Walker was the only one that managed to escape full-on corruption. Thraxian says that, and Illyria sought him out. So she's spreading her teachings from Locust Walker around. Are we going to see that kind of long gap, or is this more of the Void Elves are going to be evolving on the go as a player? They're going to be kind of adapting through their new shift in power.
I think that's actually part of the unlock.
The unlock,
so
okay.
each of the allied races, they have the requirements that you have to fulfill, and there's the unlock quest line. So I don't really want to give away any of the story points there.
The other thing I was going to ask is, with alongside the Void Elves, Anduin, as we saw in the cinematic, calling down the light in this glorious moment at the heat of the battle, Illyria bringing the Void in. Are we going to see, or whether it's in game or side stories, that struggle, the same struggle we saw between Turalyon and Illyria with the light and Void? You think your boy Anduin is going to have a little bit of but he's going to raise a brow when all these Void Elves start coming in, especially when the opposition is Crazy Banshee, Shadow Awesome Form.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, especially as a priest, because Anduin is still a priest. He's going on record. He's not a paladin and he's not a warrior. He's still a priest. It's just he's a hero, right? So heroes in our game can do different special things, and he can wield Shalamain and do amazing mass heals that no priest can do currently. But what that means is that he also understands the Void. He does. He understands it as any priest would. That because you touch both, right? In that discipline of it all, right? Discipline, no pun intended. But there is the Void and there is the light. And it's also just something to understand in general. Is what is the Void? Right? I feel like we try to give it, personify it with evil. Is its intent? The reality is, it's way more gray than black and white. The evil, like you say, Locust Walker is the only one. It's not, right? Like, look, one day I hope to be able to go to the Void, right? And I hope for us to see the horrors within that the light's causing. Right. Because that's where you get the perspective of things, right? Planets entombed in Void here and tentacles rising and devouring entire planets that exist on this side of the Void. Is there a counter to that where we go to the Void and we see entire planets crystallized in the pink, yellow plating of the Naru and the light? And how tyrannical is that to the inhabitants of those worlds? What does that even mean? And so these are the types of things that, like, I hate categorizing things, even the Void. Yeah, the Void has bad, terrible things. It has the Void Lords and the old gods and the terrible, decrepit things that they do. But again, that's from our perspective. Right?
I think the audio drama, one of the most mind-blowing parts is Illyria's vision, where the light is this hungering predator swimming through the dark.
Hey.
I think that caused a big discussion in the community, because the whole perception of the light, almost in a Catholicism sort of way, through all of Warcraft, there's this shift now, and people are like, "Whoa, what's?"
Anything taken to that extreme is gonna end up hurting somebody,
right?
In something, and that's whether that's the light, whether that's the Void. You're gonna have problems. All we can hope to do is kind of tread the middle and do what's right. And that's what we're doing in this expansion.
Awesome. With the Void Elves, they share a similar model or skeleton, at least with the Blood Elves and the Night Elves. Are the Zandalari, for you on your team, was it the most challenging of the allied races? Because I hate to use the word unique model incorrectly, but is it, the Dark Irons are dwarves, the High Mountain Tauren are Tauren. Was the Zandalari its totally unique skeleton model, or was that
It was certainly the most difficult for the art team because it is a unique rig. Not necessarily unique, it's the modified troll rig. So instead of being hunched over, they're going to stand up straight. So that required a little more animation time and touch-ups on that side. On the character art side, we put just as much time into the customizations, the hair, the facial options, as we did all of the other ones.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to Zandalari. Have you guys announced the classes for Zandalari yet?
I don't know if we put the Matrix up for the Zandalari and the Dark Arms yet. I know we did for the other 4.
Okay.
So check the website and and all that is subject to change, by the way. It's TBD, maybe they can be Death Knights, maybe we'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask about Druid models, but we won't go there.
No, we did talk about Druids.
With the Zandalari, will they have their own?
They will. Exclusive right here. We're already in development. Go for it.
The Travel Chromes Raptor.
That's amazing. That is awesome.
You heard it from Shani.
I saw the antlers with the Druid Tauren, so I thought I'd ask
cool.
that Raptor Zandalari form. That is awesome. You guys mentioned future allied races. Is there any, without not locking in stone, any ones you guys are considering, or any ones you want to give a hint or teaser to, or nothing?
Nothing we can really talk about right now. Just let your imagination run wild.
Run wild. Okay.
And then divide it by 5.
When you guys showed those, the Volparen people were hoping, Goblin allied race, never know.
Who knows?
With all the customizations, like with the Lightforged Draenei, they have, the males have big burly beards. Will we see some of those customizations, not exactly the Lightforged customization options, but will we see some of that, or an extended customization for existing races? So will they get new haircuts and beards, or?
That's always something that we're thinking about and that we want to do, but specifically for Battle for Azeroth, we put all that time into the allied race. So we didn't really go back and do it to the
Fair enough. There seems to be a lot of focus, or will be a lot of focus on the Gilnean front. A lot of people are asking what's going to happen with Gilneas. You guys mentioned Kazan. With that Worgen and Goblin model updates, is that still on the table, or?
It's something we talk about pretty much every expansion, and we are not doing it this time around either. Like I said, all of that time went into the allied races to make those super cool, to get the Zandalari male with unique animations and stuff like that. So.
Fair enough.
With that said, we want to.
It's still there.
It's not like we're putting it away. Right. It's just we got to find the time to do it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. The aesthetic and color palette of Legion. We had a lot of greens, and we had a lot of beautiful purples and blues. Just a tiny bit. Suramar had those beautiful fall, autumn colors. What kind of color palette or aesthetic are you guys most excited for that differs so much from Legion?
I really like the Zandalari stuff because there's a lot of gold, there's a lot of blue, there's a lot of red. It's really, really different from what we did with Legion. So
got a real Mayan feel.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about the Zandalari ones.
I'm actually a huge fan of Stormsong Valley, which is kind of more green, but it's a different kind of green.
Right.
It just feels so welcoming, and then you come in there and you're lulled into safety, and then the Quillboar just annihilate you as they do. Terrible.
For you specifically, how do you take from Alex's team? You take the lore of the story, and what's the most exciting or the most rewarding part to take the lore and story and weave it into the art with your team?
So basically, how it works is Alex is like, I want all of these things, and then I'm like, you can have this many things.
Slap his hand.
But no, we try to get as much as they request into the art as we can. Sometimes we make compromises, and sometimes Alex gets what he wants, and sometimes I get what I want. But I think the cool part is we make sure that design and art communicate before they start every new creature, item, or new weapon, so that Alex can get across the lore to the artist, and so they have a chance to talk about what they want to do.
Right.
And so the artist will always make a concept, and Alex will be like, yeah, that's what I was digging that, or that wasn't what I had in mind, but that's really cool, let's go that way. So it's kind of a collaboration between the two, between what Alex wants to record and what the artist comes up with in the concept.
Cool. Or sometimes I'll just say, make it rad.
Sometimes he'll just say, yeah,
I will.
In the email, just make a rad thing.
And then the artist
just makes a rad thing.
It's rad. Oh my god. Okay, good job.
Well done. All right, specifically Kulturas, I was super excited when you guys announced Catherine Proudmoore. new character we've never seen before. Any comments you can make on her relationship with Jaina? One of the things that I've, in speculation of this expansion is, where's Jaina and is she going back to Kul Tiras? And I kept thinking, will Kul Tiras welcome her considering her actions?
What do you think?
If you
were a Kul Tiran on the ground, one of those hardy sailors that knew the history,
I would not welcome her. Okay.
Probably true. Accurate.
I'm hoping to see some political,
You're going to see some awesome stuff, dude. I think the fans are going to enjoy this. We have a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline to play into that.
Awesome. You just said Kul Tiran. It's Kul Tiran, not Tarasian. Just someone asked
Kul Tiran.
Kul Tiran.
We're going.
We're locking that in.
Yes.
All right.
Could be my accent then. So.
Rather than talk about the relationship between Jaina and Kul Tiras, will there be maybe in side quests or short stories, will we know how Kul Tiras has interacted with the Alliance over the years? Because unlike Gilneas, there was no wall, but they haven't been active in the Alliance. So, or is that changed? Is it they've kind of blocked it off?
I mean, I feel like after Dalen, they just went recessed back in, right? Like, look, they lost a bunch of their ships to dragons, and then the betrayal by Jaina. I feel like they've just brought it all back in. Look, and why not, right? They're a nation that lived on their own for a good 3,000 years, nearly 3,000 years. Why do they need the troubles that comes with being part of the Alliance, which is part of the challenge of getting them to come back? Look, like, you need us as much as we need you, especially in this world where sides have to be chosen. If you're not choosing a side, you're going to get rolled over by one of these sides. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. With the Kul Tirans, we saw the different human models. We saw some big burly fellows and stuff like that. Do they use the same human rigs?
No, they're their own unique.
They're 100%. So it's like going a throwback to the old Hillsbrad independent models. Those
those are different entirely.
Yeah. So it's a throwback. Okay, because I saw those and I said I don't think those are regular human models. So I'm excited for those. With the topic of Kul Tiras and inevitably pirates, any comments you can make on Bloodsail or Duke Falrovere? We haven't really heard from him or about him in a long time. Leader of the Bloodsail.
No.
Okay.
I don't think we might see Bloodsail in Freehold, but I'm not sure, actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had a question. Someone wants to know, Dalaran's been such a focus in Legion. Big question is Dalaran going to move again? But more seriously, Khadgar. What's Khadgar's? Is he still going to remain that neutral kind of stance, or is he going to... Because at this point, someone I saw made a comment, we're almost back to all of the human kingdoms back in the Alliance now. The only one kind of missing is Alterac. We saw some Stromgarde preview there, but Alterac's just a waste, and Dalaran's 50-50, so... Any comments on Dalaran or our buddy Khadgar?
Khadgar's story is not done.
Right.
We'll send him off properly soon. And then Khadgar can be full-time Dadgar and go do his terrible dad jokes and weird puns until we need him again.
Right. Okay. One of the things I'm most excited for is the world assaults across the world. And you guys talked about the taking of Eastern kingdoms and pushing the war back to Silvermoon. And there was a joke about taking the instance portal to Silvermoon. Is the technology there with Silvermoon's zones and the Exodar zones? Will that? I don't know if this is the right question to ask you guys, but will that provide problems with how the phasing works if you could decide to go to that? Okay.
No. I mean, you mean for scaling?
For scaling, or just in terms of?
No. I mean, look, it's just effectively just a hard transfer. Transferring zones, transferring shards, whatever it might be. At some point we want to go back and maybe make everything contiguous because we can do that now. But that's not going to happen now.
Okay.
But it should not pose any problems for any kind of scaling as we need it.
Okay. And the last question I'll ask is, in Legion, leader of the Class Hall united all the Broken Shore factions, invaded Argus together. We'll use Paladin as a specific example. You've got Lady Liadrin and Maxwell Tyros as buddies, and now we're going back to the faction war. will there be, I know classes were a focus on Legion, but will we see that divide like we saw between Thessarian and Kultira Deathweaver in Cataclysm? Will that be an element we'll see woven throughout? Former allies now back on the other side?
To some degree. I mean, I can't, Liadrin and Maxwell specifically, it's hard to say. It's interesting because like there's all these micro stories that occur and happen in the world, and they all mean something different to different people, right? And there's some of them are special to you, and some of them are special to me. And it's unfortunate because we don't have time to deliver on everything, right? We got to start at the top and deal with the bigger meta stories, and then kind of whittle our way down. And if we can get to things like that, we can, because I think it's an awesome point of detail even when we can do that and service that. But in their hearts, yes, they'll probably, at each other, but we'll see.
All right, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
This was super fun. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And that concludes our very first developer interview. We want to thank Alex Afrasiabi and Shani Edwards for taking the time to answer our questions. The battle for Azeroth cannot come soon enough. We also want to give a huge thanks to all those who helped make BlizzCon 2017 an epic experience. Our countdown for 2018 is now underway. We hope you all enjoyed this first developer interview and the format we've laid it out in. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see from us in the new year regarding these sorts of episodes. We hope to expand our content beyond the story of the lore, without taking away from our production schedule on the Holocore and Codex episodes. Stay tuned for another episode of the Lost Codex.